Have you ever wondered what really goes through a man's mind when he thinks about you? Maybe you've wasted hours trying to decipher signals, short messages, or even his silence. The truth is that men often hide more than they show. They may be thinking about you intensely, but they will never admit it in words. And this is exactly where the secret you need to discover comes in. There are only 3 main reasons why a man can't get you out of his head. And the most impressive thing is that these reasons are not what you normally imagine. Before revealing these secrets, I want you to stop for a moment and reflect. How many times have you felt that he was distant, but then suddenly came back with even greater intensity? How many times did you believe you had lost your importance but realized that deep down, there was something in him that pulled him back to you? This does not happen by chance. There is an emotional logic behind it, and understanding this logic is like having access to a map of the male mind. Men don't talk much about feelings. They don't detail emotions, and they often use reason as a shield to avoid exposing what they are feeling. But even so, there is a kind of internal code that reveals when a woman has really made a mark in his life. Most men will never admit this out loud. They prefer to act indirectly. A lingering glance, an unexpected message, a memory that pops up when you least expect it. And it's in these small details that you realize that, even in silence, you are still present in his mind. And here's an important point. What keeps you in a man's mind has less to do with appearance, status, or superficial things. Sure, all of that may catch his attention at first, but it's not enough to keep a memory alive. What really makes him think of you over and over again are much deeper triggers, linked to how you arouse emotions in him, how you activate certain memories, and how you provoke feelings that he can't easily find elsewhere. Perhaps now you're asking yourself, but then why doesn't he admit these reasons? The answer is simple and complex at the same time. Many men carry a huge fear of appearing vulnerable. They believe that if they reveal how much a woman affects them, they will lose control of the situation or show weakness. So they hide, silence, and disguise it. They pretend that nothing is happening, when inside, they can't stop thinking about you. This video is not just to show you what these 3 reasons are. It is also to open your eyes and give you clarity on how male psychology works. Because when you understand this, everything changes. You are no longer stuck in doubts, insecurities, or misinterpretations. You start to see beyond his words and understand the signs that he himself tries to hide. In the next few minutes, we're going to dive together behind the scenes of the male mind. You'll discover the 3 hidden reasons that make a man think about you all the time, even when he swears he doesn't. You'll understand how these reasons arise, why they are so powerful, and how you can identify them in practice. Get ready, because what you're about to hear may completely change the way you see his behavior. And more importantly, it may transform the way you position yourself within a relationship. So stay with me until the end, because this isn't just another video with superficial tips. Here you will learn in a simple and straightforward way how the male mind works when it comes to you. The first reason a man thinks about you, even without admitting it, is the way you awaken unique emotions in him. It may seem obvious at first, but it's not. Most women believe that what keeps a man interested is beauty, body, or even the way they dress. These things attract attention, of course, but they're not what makes him carry you in his mind. What really keeps him interested is the rare feeling you provoke when you're present. Think about it. Emotions are like invisible marks that are engraved in the memory. A man may meet dozens of women, he may talk to several people every day, but he will only think repeatedly about the one who managed to awaken something different in him. It may be a feeling of peace, it may be the lightness of your laughter, it may be the intensity of your gaze, or even the way you make him feel valued and understood. These moments are like emotional fingerprints, impossible to erase. And here's the big question. Men have a hard time talking about it. Many can't even identify what they're feeling. They just realize that when they think of you, there's a strong emotion attached to the memory, and that emotion is what makes them mentally return to you, even when they try to move on. Imagine the following. You spend time with him, maybe on an ordinary afternoon. Nothing extraordinary, but at that moment you smiled in a way that left an impression. Or maybe you made a simple comment, but it touched something deep inside him. Days later, even without contact, that memory reappears like a flash. He remembers the scene, the way, the feeling. It's as if you planted an emotional seed that blooms on its own inside his mind. So make no mistake, a man may try to hide it, he may even pretend to be indifferent, but if you have awakened emotions in him that he cannot find elsewhere, you will continue to appear in his thoughts. It's almost inevitable. The human mind works like this. It always returns to what has had an emotional impact. Now here's a powerful detail. Many women, in an attempt to hold a man's attention, end up exaggerating, trying to be perfect, always available, always pleasing. But the truth is that it's not the excess of effort that makes an impression, but authenticity. It's the spontaneous gestures, the real moments, the things you do without intending to impress that create the most memories. What really connects a man to you are true emotions, not forced roles. And why will he never admit it? Because for many men, confessing that a woman has stirred their emotions is like giving up their shield. They have been taught from an early age that showing sensitivity is a sign of weakness. So instead of saying, "I can't stop thinking about you because you make me feel something different," they prefer to hide it, silence it, make excuses. However, inside the truth is clear. There is a reason that makes him remember you all the time, and that reason is emotional. It's not rational, it's not logical, it's not something he can easily control. It's instinctive, and every time he thinks of you again, it's because somehow you've provoked something in him that no one else has been able to provoke. So when you ask yourself, does he think about me? Remember that first reason. If you've touched his emotions, if you've made his heart react differently, then yes, you occupy space in his thoughts. In the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal the second reason, even more surprising, that keeps a woman fixed in a man's mind, even when he tries to deny it to himself. The second reason that makes a man think about you, even without admitting it, is the sense of challenge and mystery that you provoke in him. It may seem strange, but I'll explain. The male mind works in a way that is closely linked to conquest. From an early age, men learn to value what is not easy, what requires attention, energy, and effort. This does not mean childish games or manipulation, but rather the idea that what is not completely in his hands arouses more interest. When you become an enigma, when there is something about you that he does not yet fully understand, it creates a space in his mind. He begins to ask himself, what did she mean by that sentence? Why did she react that way? How does she really feel about me? These questions open mental cycles that he cannot easily close, and as long as these cycles remain open, you continue to occupy space in his head. Men like the feeling of conquest, but more than that, they like to feel that they don't have complete control over someone. When you maintain your individuality, when you show that you have a life of your own that doesn't revolve around him, you automatically become more interesting. He may not admit it, but this awakens an ancient instinct to pursue, to discover, to want to conquer something that is not yet completely won. And here comes a very important point. The challenge is not about becoming unapproachable or cold. It's about showing layers. Think of a book that grabs you from the first page. You can't put it down because each chapter brings a new revelation, something unexpected, something that keeps you curious. That's how the male mind works when faced with a woman he can't completely figure out. Now think, how many times have you been surprised by a message from him after a period of silence? This happens because even though he tries to distract himself, he can't close that mental cycle. You remain a question mark inside him, and it is precisely this question mark that makes him think about you over and over again. Deep down, a man will never admit that he needs this mystery. He prefers to believe that he is in control, that he knows exactly where he stands. But the truth is that what escapes logic a little, what he can't explain, is what attracts him the most. He thinks about you because he hasn't been able to fully figure out who you are, because he feels that there is always something more to discover. And this is exactly where many women go wrong. By trying too hard to please, by always wanting to be available and predictable, they end up removing the mystery factor. And when the mystery disappears, the male mind relaxes, stops searching, stops wondering. It's as if the cycle is closed and, without realizing it, interest begins to wane. But when you maintain your essence, when you don't give up your values, when you show that you have your own world, friends, dreams, projects, passions, he realizes that you are not someone who can be controlled or put in a box. This activates in him not only respect, but also a constant desire to be close to you, to try to understand you better. This is the second reason he will never admit. Because to admit it, he would have to confess that he doesn't have all the answers, that you challenge him, that he doesn't have complete control. And that's something many men prefer to hide. They will feign indifference. They will try to appear in control, but inside you remain that intriguing presence that insists on occupying his thoughts. So when you wonder if he still thinks about you, remember this. If you represent a challenge to him, if there is something about you that he has not yet completely figured out, you are already inside his mind. And every time he tries to understand more, every time he wonders about you, it is as if he strengthens that presence even more. In the next few minutes, we're going to reveal the third and final reason, perhaps the strongest of all, that makes a man unable to stop thinking about you, even if he never admits it. We've come to the third reason, and perhaps the most powerful of all. He only thinks about you because in some way you represent a mirror of who he would like to be. This means that when he is around you, he sees not only your presence, but also the reflection of a better version of himself. It may be because you inspire him to grow, because you awaken in him the desire to be more responsible, more mature, more dedicated. It may be because by your side, he feels he is on a different, higher level, as if your energy pushes him upward. Men rarely talk about it, but deep down they all carry a need for recognition. They want to be admired, valued, to feel that they are important. And when a woman manages to make a man feel not only accepted, but also motivated to be better, she creates a deep mark on his mind. That mark becomes a constant memory, because he associates you with a version of himself that he likes to see. It's as if you were a trigger for growth. He thinks, with her, I want to be a better man. He may not use those words, he may not say it to anyone, but the feeling is clear within him. When he thinks of you, he remembers how it's possible to mature, how good it feels to be respected, how different it is to be with someone who makes him evolve. And that's why this reason is so powerful. Because it's not just about what you offer him externally, but what you awaken internally. It's much deeper. It's not just about charm, beauty, or chemistry. It's about identity. You somehow become part of the process of building his identity, and that's why he'll never admit it. Because confessing that would be like saying, I need her to be a better version of myself. And for many men, admitting this emotional dependence is almost unthinkable. But even without admitting it, the effect is there. He remembers you in simple moments. When he achieves something, when he overcomes a difficulty, when he does something that was somehow inspired by what he experienced with you, you become a symbol, a kind of invisible guide who remains present even when you're not around. Now realize one thing, it doesn't mean you have to carry the weight of being responsible for him improving. That wouldn't be healthy. What really sticks in his mind is precisely the fact that you exist as an example, not as an obligation. It's the natural impact of your presence, your values, the way you position yourself in life. That's what makes the difference. And here's the secret. While many women believe they need to constantly prove their worth, to show all the time that they are good enough, what really makes an impression on a man is seeing that you already know who you are, that you don't need him to validate your identity. It is this confidence that inspires him. It is this strength that makes him think of you as someone who leaves a mark. This third reason, therefore, closes the circle. He thinks about you because you awaken unique emotions, because you are a mystery that challenges him, and above all, because you make him feel that he can be a better man. And given all this, how could he simply forget you? Of course, he will never admit any of this out loud. He will prefer to remain silent, feign indifference, and go about his routine as if nothing has changed. But inside, the truth is clear. You have become part of his inner world. And now that you know the three reasons, it's much easier to understand the signs. In the next few sections, we'll tie all these ideas together and show you how you can identify, in practice, if he's really thinking about you, and what to do about it. Now that you know the three reasons that make a man think about you without admitting it, let's bring this to real situations. Because it's not enough to just understand the theory. You need to see how it appears in everyday life, in his gestures, attitudes, and even in his silence. First, think about the reason for unique emotions. Imagine a couple who have only been out a few times. They don't have a long history, they haven't shared great experiences together. But on one of those dates, something deeply moved him. It may have been the way she listened attentively. It may have been the way she made a spontaneous joke that made him laugh genuinely, or even the lightness with which she faced a problem. That little memory becomes a milestone. He may meet other people, but every time he remembers that rare feeling, it's as if he's drawn back to her. And even without admitting it, he thinks about her constantly. Now let's get to the reason for the challenge and the mystery. Think of a woman who doesn't reveal everything at once, who doesn't expose every detail of her life right from the start. She's not playing games. She's not hiding anything on purpose. She's simply maintaining her individuality, her projects, her friendships, He realizes that she doesn't depend on him to be happy. This messes with his mind because it raises questions. He begins to wonder, what is she doing now? Who is she talking to? Why does she seem so confident without needing me? These questions become small obsessions, and the more he tries to answer them, the more she occupies space inside him. And finally, we have the reason for the growth mirror. This is perhaps the most profound and also the most transformative. Imagine a man who has always been scattered without much direction, but after meeting a woman, he begins to organize himself better, take more care of his career, and strive to be a better person. He may not admit that she was the one who inspired him, but every step he takes bears the mark of what he learned alongside her. And every time he notices this evolution, he automatically remembers her. Even if the relationship ends, that memory remains. It's like an invisible tattoo. He associates her presence with a period of personal growth. These examples show that it's not about ready-made phrases or magic techniques. What makes a man think about you continuously are real experiences, authentic emotions, genuine mystery, and true inspiration. It's not something you can buy, force, or totally control. It's natural, it's human, it's psychological. And you may be asking yourself, but how can I know in practice if he really thinks about me? The answer lies in the signs. He may not say it in words, but his body speaks, his actions speak. A glance that lasts a little longer, an unexpected message in the middle of the night, a seemingly unimportant question just to strike up a conversation. These are all ways for him to reconnect with the presence that is already marked within him. Another important detail, often he will try to distance himself precisely because he doesn't want to admit these reasons. It's as if he's fighting with himself. He thinks about you, but tries to deny it. He misses you, but avoids showing it. He wants to get closer, but makes excuses. This internal conflict is proof that you are on his mind. The greater the resistance, the greater the confirmation that you have touched something deep inside him. And here's some essential advice. Don't fall into the trap of thinking you need to constantly prove your worth to stay in his mind. The 3 reasons we've revealed, emotion, mystery, and inspiration, don't depend on exaggerated effort, but rather on authenticity. The more genuine you are, the more you live your life without trying to control every detail, the more natural this impact will be. Now that you understand how all this manifests itself in practice, in the next section we'll talk about how to clearly identify when a man really can't stop thinking about you. What's more, we'll discuss how to use this knowledge to your advantage, without games or manipulation, just by understanding and respecting male psychology. Now you know the 3 secret reasons that make a man think about you, even if he never has the courage to admit it. And it's important to repeat, these are not the obvious reasons that most people imagine. It's not just beauty, it's not just physical presence, it's something much deeper, which directly affects his mind and emotions. The first reason is the power to awaken unique emotions. When you provoke feelings in him that no one else can provoke, when you leave emotional marks that turn into vivid memories, he can't simply erase you from his mind. The second reason is the sense of challenge and mystery. When you show that you have your own life, that it doesn't revolve around him, that you have layers to be discovered, you become irresistibly intriguing. He thinks about you not only because he likes you, but because he has not yet fully understood who you are. And the third reason is even deeper. You become a mirror of growth. He sees in you the chance to be a better version of himself. By your side, he feels he can evolve, mature, achieve something greater. This feeling creates such a strong connection that it remains alive even when the relationship changes or when he tries to deny it. And maybe now you're thinking, okay, but what do I do with this information? The answer is simple. Use it for clarity, not control. You don't need to manipulate anyone or play emotional games. What really keeps you in a man's mind is your authenticity, your truth, your real value. The more you are true to yourself, the more you naturally awaken these 3 reasons. In practice, this means that you should allow yourself to live intensely, without fear of showing who you really are. Laugh genuinely, say what you feel, stick to your plans, take care of yourself. When you do this, you naturally become unforgettable. Because it's not about being perfect, it's about being real. And remember, a man may deny it, he may hide it, he may even try to walk away. But if you have awakened unique emotions in him, if you have brought mystery into his life, and above all, if you have inspired him to be a better person, then the truth is that he already thinks about you, and will probably continue to think about you even if silently. Now I want to propose something to you. Reflect on the relationships you've had or have today. Can you identify when these 3 reasons were present? Can you tell when he remembered you, even if he didn't admit it? This reflection will open your eyes to see beyond words, beyond appearances. And here's an important final point. Never forget that the greatest power is not in knowing whether he thinks about you, but in knowing how much you think about yourself. When you put yourself first, when you understand your worth, you naturally become unforgettable to others. If this content made sense to you, I have a special request. Don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with someone who also needs to better understand the male mind. And of course, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell, because every week I bring content like this, with truths that many people prefer to hide, but that can completely change the way you see relationships. So, to recap, he only thinks about you for 3 reasons: emotion, mystery, and inspiration. He'll never admit it, but now you know. Use this knowledge to your advantage, live authentically, and you'll realize that the power to mark a man's mind is much more in your hands than you think.